Hey everyone, Dan here. How you doing? It is Monday night. Things are going well over here. Just let me move that. It is Karma has been going well. We are entering the final phase. It is well. Let's pull it up and take a look. Share screen. All right. So, Karma. Karma is now at broke the latest stretch goal. It is now at 42,523. Now, it's kind of funny is that it'll bump up and then it'll bump down a little bit and up and down. And I don't know if it's people stepping back out, changing their mind, what's going on, but we seem to be over the 500 mark somewhat solidly. Like to get a few more people on that before the night's over just to lock that in. But that opens up the next stretch goal, which means that all of the trades that we're doing, the Stepan Sejic covers, let me pull those covers up here while I do this. The Stepan Sejic cover right here, the Mirka Andolfo cover, and the two Michael D. Pascal covers, the regular and the naughty version, all of them are going to be hard covers now. So you get your book now, and it's automatically upgraded to hardcover. Plus, we've already unlocked the three. Now, this should have been changed. They're going to change it tomorrow. But the three Sexy Karma trading cards have already been unlocked. And these are from prominent moments in the book. So you'll want those. You get that. You get the interior art by Carlos Renault. This is some gorgeous stuff. And you can get it all for backing. If you haven't backed yet, now's the time. Because if you look up here, we have got 3 days left, but this is going to change too in just a little while. So you really probably have about 26, 28 hours, not 26, maybe 50 hours left, 48 to 50 hours left. So don't wait too long on this. Jump in now when you get, while you have the chance. But look at some of these options you get. Now, they always put one of these on here. And as much as I love you guys, I don't really think any of you is going to just give me $10 for support or some amount of money just for support. That's buy the book. If you're going to support it, buy the book. Don't just, now, the Karma graphic novel with the Sejic cover, you can get it for $25. And again, that'll be a hardcover now that we've hit that stretch goal. That there, $25. There's 306 people have backed that already. 306 people. There is the Michael D. Pascal regular cover. There's 56 people backed that. But remember, there's the naughty cover too. So, and then the Mirka Andolfo cover. Now this one got a little because we had put it up wrong. We put it up wrong for a certain number of people. Were able to get the Mirka and the Stepan Sejic cover for the same price. It was a mistake. We're going to honor all those, but Mirka has 71 backers there. Then we take a look at the digital-only copy. If you just want a digital copy, you can get that here. And there's 106 people have signed on for the digital copy. The nude or naughty cover, there's 237 people have signed on for that. There's also the set of prints. If you just want all the covers as prints, you can do that. Nope. This one here is you get the Sejic graphic novel plus a digital copy in case you want both. 9 people have done that. But now the Virgin Art Litho set. Those are the 4 covers, the naughty and the nice version. You get all 4 of those, and 21 people have signed up just for the lithos. Now, if you want me to sign the book, 12 people have done this, and okay, I'm happy to sign them. And that is a signed Sejic cover, or a Sejic cover with my signature on it. 12 people have done that, but the really good stuff is when you get up into here. You get all 4 covers, including the Sejic, the Andolfo, and both D. Pascal covers. 35 people have signed on for that, and they're going to get hard covers on all of those. We get over here to a retailer level. So if you're a store owner and you're looking to get these are going to come hardcover now. You're going to get 8 copies. 2 Cedric, 2 Mirka Andolfo, 2 of the regular Michael D. Pascal, and 2 of the nude D. Pascals. So you get 8 copies for, I mean, that's a hell of a deal. Over $100. That's if you're a retailer. Now, right here, this package here, this is the total package. You get all 4 editions plus the 4 lithographs, and all the books are signed. They'll all be hardcovers now that we've hit that total. So that whole thing for $125, that is amazing, because these are $25 each when you buy them individually. Now you're getting 4 of them plus the lithos, all for $125. That's an incredible deal. That's 38 people have signed up for that. Now we do have, this was the one I talked about earlier, 22 people. It was our mistake. We listed, but so that's why Mirka's numbers should be a little higher. All right. Now, have you looked inside these books? I mean, just look at this art by Carlos Renaud. Just stunning. Let me actually pull up some of the pages from the interior pages. Let's see. I should have them right here. This is one of the club scene that happens, which is Alex and Karma going out on. It's not really a date, but it is sort of a date. It's kind of the first time they go out together. They meet for business, but then Karma remembers, oh, I had this get together with some friends. Why don't you come with me? And here we see they hit the dance floor together. She quickly changes from business to very sexy. Alex is out there on the floor. He's just in jeans and a t-shirt because that's Alex. That's his thing. But, he gets in there and gets going. And he hasn't danced much, but she kind of tells him, look, if it just move your body. If it feels good, you're doing it right. Here we have her friend comes up, Anna. And Anna plays a big role in this book too. So don't sleep on Anna here. That's going to be an important character. Here they're having a little time on the dance floor. And this is when she realizes, oh my God, I have a shoot the next day. Got to go. She runs off. He turns to talk to Anna and she's gone too. And he's like, what am I doing here? And that's kind of the world that Alex gets pulled into, is this crazy world that just kind of happens. So that is some interior pages by the great Carlos Renaud. This is a book you want to grab. I mean, it is an erotic book. It is an adult book, but it's also a romance. There is a true relationship going here. It goes from the beginning stages, the butterfly stages, the, oh my God, why am I feeling this way? Do I really like this guy, or do I really like this girl stage? When you don't know what the other one's thinking, that's the stage of this relationship. Now, I've got plans to do more of these books. And again, sales will dictate how many more, how soon, those kind of things. But right now we're looking at this level, and, this is the beginning stages of the relationship. Also, some of the things they have to go through, they have to deal with, the initial bondage shoot right here. You've got the dance floor stuff. And there's, the initial photo shoot they do. There might be other sensual things like an orgy or something or two that they have to deal with. But, it's an interesting story, because Alex is totally out of his realm. He's out of his place. He's dealing with people that he normally wouldn't deal with. And he's doing so all while holding this girl's hand, who is used to this. This is her world. She's very open to it. And the people around her are very open and sexual and sensual and all of that. So that's the Karma story. But a lot of the stuff that happens in the series is, there's moments that I pull from my personal life. I've spent, 20 plus years as a photographer. I got into it in the late 90s. Then started actually working with models and stuff a little after that. You start off like every photographer does. You talk every friend you have into posing for you, and it's different. I know a lot of guys, one of my best friends in high school was a nature photographer. So if he wanted to do a photo shoot, he just got up, drove to the mountains, and started shooting pictures. Wouldn't work for me. I needed a girl in the picture, because that was the type of photography I was doing. And what's funny is that he could shoot amazing nature shots, but you put a girl in the picture or a person in the picture and it looked horrible. He didn't know how to do that. I, on the other hand, My nature photos are kind of boring, but I know how to get, I've got the eye for working with people. Now, um, I have had some very interesting moments as a photographer early on, working with people that, like I said, I probably shot with most of my female friends at the time. So, which was weird because they were friends, they weren't like relationship things. So suddenly, just about every female that I knew was, they were standing naked in front of me, and I'm still, you got to change your mentality. You got to think very differently. Like, okay, this is just art. This is just this. This is, you have to divorce yourself from that, and in doing so, it becomes the norm. And then, there's a difference between being intimate with somebody and doing photography, because it's not the same, and that's how it grows and changes. So, I've worked with a lot of women, and it gets to the point where you end up in, like I said, some odd situations. I remember in a hotel room in downtown LA shooting with a model named Sarah, who was telling me about growing up uh, in a small town in Texas, and how her dad was the local coroner slash mortician, and how she used to, as a kid, go in and help him do autopsies. Now, that's not the conversation you expect to have with a beautiful naked woman. But, but we also talked about how the fact that there's not a whole lot of people with the last name of Hitler anymore either, which just shows you the weird ass conversations. Um, Another girl, we talked gaming the entire time. She was a big gamer, and we talked about all the different video games she played and stuff like that, all the while doing a photo shoot. It's strange because you realize that what you can get in a photo can look sensual and beautiful, and at the same time, you're just sitting there in, chaos all around you, and you just focus the camera in to capture the moment you want. And and that's what photography is capturing a moment. And it's similar to writing. I've talked to a lot of people who do film that suddenly want to write comic books. They're used to writing screenplays and stuff, and then they suddenly want to write a comic book. And I tell them, okay, think about making a movie, but instead of with a film camera, use a still camera. You have one image to convey the scene, how much you can get in that shot. If you could take a picture of it, then you have your panel. So, you want some, and a lot of times I'd hear, well, he draws his gun and fires. You can't do that in a single panel. I mean, you could do the little motion blur lines and stuff like Frank Miller always did with Daredevil, little tiny tracer lines and then the action. But overall, you get the single action in a panel. And that's how I explain it. Like, if you could take a picture of it, then you could do a panel of it. So photography, and I think, is very relatable to comic writing and stuff. So it was a natural for me to do both. But I only actually got into doing photography because when I was starting off as a writer, I was doing a group called Hardline Studios. That was our studio. We started in the mid 90s, and we had a female writer named Michelle who was doing a book that she was using her lone likeness as the main character. It was a little biographical in a sense. And the artist lived in Arizona and needed some photos of her. Well, my buddy, the the nature photographer, was supposed to take pictures of her to send to this guy. He kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And finally, she called me up one day and said, I need these photos to send to Mike. Can you do them? And I'm kind of racking my brain like, I think my mom has a camera. I mean, I'm still pretty young at this point. Like, I think my mom has a camera. You could come over. We could shoot in the backyard. She's like, okay. let's do that. And I had gotten off work early or something. So she ended up coming over, and sure enough, my mom had that, and I picked up some film and ended up shooting a couple rolls of film with her. And I still have those shots. I still have all the shots that I've taken. But while we were shooting, she did a couple implied nudes, and I wasn't, didn't think they were for the artist. I think they were more for herself, just to see how they would look, stuff like this. And it was her idea, and they came out pretty well. And she ended up showing them to some of the other people in the studio, and a couple of the other women involved were like, oh, can you shoot with me? It's like, okay. And then I had a character I was using based off of a friend I had. So she's like, well, you need photos with me then, don't you? And I'm like, sure. And sure enough, I ended up shooting about probably a dozen different friends, and then eventually coming up with ideas and stuff, and then kind of getting into the scene with models and working with models and doing group shoots and then individual shoots and booking models. And it's just a very different, interesting world. And like I said, you end up with some very different moments. I did a group shoot in Arizona, met a model there who I thought really looked familiar, and I couldn't figure out why. And she saw me and thought I looked familiar, and I was trying to figure it out. And eventually we got to talking and stuff, and we kind of became quick friends at this group shoot. And then from there, we ended up, she was from here, from LA, from Long Beach, actually. So when I came back, she's like, well, why don't we shoot together? And I went down to her place and we shot. But we also became, like I said, good friends, to the point where I was regularly going to hang out with her, and I would go down and we'd go out to dinner or go to a club or just do whatever, go to a bar. And, but the interesting thing was that she also did adult movies, and that turned out is where I saw her was actually on something on Playboy TV once, and it stuck in my head. And then when I saw her, so I don't know where she thinks she knows me from, but that's where I knew her from. But I would go down there and, hang out in her apartment. And her apartment was basically, there was a futon, there was the bed, and the kitchen and the bathroom. That was about it. So half the time we'd sit on the bed and watch TV, or lay on the bed and watch TV, or, that type of thing. But whenever we would go out, she'd be like, okay, I need to take a quick shower. Well, you would think that, okay, I'll stay out here in the living room, you go do your shower thing. But no, she didn't want to basically be a bad hostess and not talk to me. And she also liked company and liked to talk to people. So basically I would go into the bathroom with her. She would take a shower and I would sit there and talk to her while she's taking a shower, in glass doors and stuff. So it just became this very weird thing where it was like every time I went to visit her, at some point I would see her naked. And it was just, that openness is part of what is part of that industry. Being naked in front of somebody doesn't really faze them. It's just part of nature, and you have to adjust to that too, because if you're not in that industry and then suddenly you're thrust into it, like Alex is, seeing somebody naked doesn't necessarily mean what it would in a normal person's life. If anybody, people who are watching this, if you go visit your friend and they come walking out of their room naked, just talking to you, and go into the kitchen and get a glass of water, and then come back out and then go and get dressed, you're going to be like, wait, what the hell was that? Are you coming on to me? Not in this industry. It's very different. So that's part of the stuff I had to learn. And, and it didn't take me long, because you get kind of used to it pretty quickly. And that's I went to shoot with this one model who had her own house out in the valley. And while I was doing a kind of a noir film shoot with her, she did a lot of bondage stuff. And walking through her house, I noticed that there was a lot of things set up for bondage shooting. There was eye hooks all over the place, just stuck into the roof and stuck into the wall. So if you wanted to shoot in the middle of the living room a scene, you'd have the ability to tie people up. It's just a very different world. And again, that's something that you have to get used to. And that's kind of what Alex has to get used to in the story. You know, it's just a much more open world than he's used to. He's much more straight laced, much more. I don't want to say boring. I don't want to say reserved, but it's just that's the world he comes from. It's a more reserved world because most of our worlds are more reserved. You know, like I said, I've been in strange situations that, looking back on, just if I talk about them, they sound like a humble brag, but they're not because they weren't like anything special, you know, or anything like that. It's just part of that world that I became involved in, you know. Uh, you don't know how many times I've gotten an email from a model going, "Hey, I just got a boob job. What do you think?" And there'll be photos in there for me to go, "Oh, well, yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, it looks good, whatever." Or I actually had one model who didn't necessarily have the best boob job ever. If she stood straight on looking at you, it almost like her eyes were crossed, but it was her nipples. And then eventually she decided to take them out and go back to natural. And she sent me a photo going, "Hey, look, I went back to natural." It's like, "Hey, they look great. Awesome." And then I look over my shoulder, and my wife at the time, who's my ex-wife now, she's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's Jillian." "Oh, okay." And then I explained it. She's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah." It's just a very weird world. Or, you know, having my wife at the shoots suddenly helping out with the photos, or, you know, something like that. Or one of my girlfriends at the time in the shoots helping with the photos. It's just a very different world, you know. The one model that I talked about that I would go down and hang out with, I ended up officiating her wedding, you know. Um, and even on her wedding day, I still ended up seeing her naked because they put the dress in another room that used to be one of their roommates, and didn't realize he had left without leaving the keys for the handle, and the door got locked. So the wedding dress was in this locked room, and she's freaking out and standing there going, I can't get my dress. I can't get my dress. So I come down the hallway. I'm like, okay, level of importance here. She is super high. I need in that room. I'm like, okay. And I just kind of shouldered my way, popped open the door, and there you go. So yeah, priest or the officiator just busted down the door. But yeah, I've had a lot of unique situations like that, or like I've told the story before about going to the adult film set for before I started working for Bleeding Cool, but going for Bleeding Cool. Um, how do I tell this one story? I was at a convention with a big name creator and his wife and their friend, who is a rather popular internet model. And in the middle of the bar of the hotel for the convention center, we're all hanging out, and the model decides she wants a back rub, and I'm the one that's supposed to give it to her. So then I am massaging this girl's back, who at this point she takes her jacket off. All she's got on is a bra. I'm rubbing her back while checking out her gorgeous back tattoo. And it's a very interesting moment. And then suddenly I'm getting hit on the shoulder, but turns out to be the end of a pool cue, as this rather muscular 70s, 80s television guy is tapping on my shoulder to get my attention, to let me know that it's her turn to shoot pool with him. And he's not very happy that I'm distracting her from that. So, yeah, that could have been interesting too. So, it's just stories like that. But those are the kind of things that go into the karma story. And we got another backer, so we're getting a little bit higher. I'd like to see now. We've got, like I said, 2 solid days plus left. Exactly how long, I don't know. I don't remember what time it shuts off at, but we want to try to get to 50,000. And I know we're a ways away. A lot of Kickstarters have big pushes in the last couple days. So I'm hoping we can get that started. I know that 50 is like automatically boom, 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 we're doing a sequel. Hopefully we'll still do it if we don't hit that. But we're doing, in my mind, we're doing really good. But these other guys, they do Kickstarters, so they know what their expectation is. So hopefully we'll hit the 50. But they have another stretch goal. They have another big stretch goal coming up. I'm not sure exactly what it is. There was talk about doing some prints based on my actual photography. I should give you a sample of that if you haven't seen any. This is just 2 of the pictures that I suggested as potential for prints. Actually, I suggested them for covers, and then there's some more that are a little more risque, nothing too over the top, but these are somewhat tame. I mean, they don't technically show anything, and this is a model named Kimberly Jane, one of the models that I've shot with, who you guys may know of, but she's part of the inspiration for Karma. It's not the sole inspiration, but she also looks probably as close to Carlos's version of any model that I've worked with. So, and this was also the character that I sent Michael some art for as reference for his cover, and it was Kimberly. So, but yeah, so that's potential. Is we're gonna do some prints that will go to everybody if we get to the 50,000. So we're still pushing here. We're not done yet. 3 days left, 2 days left, whatever it is. So if you've already backed, help me by spreading the word. Tell your friends, I will put this in the chat. Put the link in the chat. Now, it doesn't show up on Facebook for some reason, but it does show up on Twitch and on YouTube. So if you're on there, great. If you're on Facebook, go to my page and you'll find the link for it a lot. I've posted a lot because I really want this to do well. This is a big project for me, and I'm excited about it. 120-page graphic novel. It's a complete story, but it's also the beginning of a story for these 2. Do you want to see, this is them coming together. It's the building of a relationship. There's betrayal. There's some humor. There's the best friend. There's always the best friends. That's the thing with romances. There's always the best friend. So it is a romance that has the erotic things in it, in the same vein as some of the books right now, like Sunstone, Swing, Sweet Paprika. And there's a reason we have Mirka Andolfo, who does Sweet Paprika, as one of our cover artists. And we have Stepan Sejic, who does Sunstone, as our other cover artist, or as another one of our cover artists, because, this is the genre that they're helping to build, and we want to be part of that genre. And this is our first foray into it. I have other ideas too. I have other stories that I would like to tell, not just Karma. There's more Karma stories I want to tell, but I've got some other ideas too that I'm hoping that this will be the start of. We can get some more stories going, bring in some other artists, stuff like that. So again, if you have backed already, now's a good time to up it, because now we're going to all hardcovers. So if you want to get an extra copy, a couple extra copies, whatever, you could bump up to the 4 set. Then you have gifts to give if you know anybody who might want it. But the other thing is you can share the link. That would be greatly appreciated, and help get some more people here. Maybe your best friend, maybe, somebody that they're, they like these models and stuff, like, oh, hey, you're into photography stuff, you should check this out. Help me spread the word. Help us build this up a little bit. If we can get to 50,000, there's another big stretch goal coming, which I'm sure will be announced tomorrow. And then we're going to go in for the big push. So anything you could do would be greatly appreciated. My buddy Adam Marcus today, he shared the link. I thank him for that. Jay Photos, who's doing his own Kickstarter right now, he shared the link. Check out Gorgon, great Kickstarter. Cara Nicole, a model who I've actually worked with, she shared the link as well. We swapped. We shared hers about unstable frequencies. She shared ours. So if you can spread the word about it, I'd appreciate it. If you're seeing this, tell some people about it. And if you haven't backed yet, take a look at it. Yeah, it's on the adult side, but it's also a good romance story. It's about two people from different worlds coming together. It's a little bit like there was a trend in the 80s to do these movies where you had the straight-laced guy hook up with the wild woman, and like movies like Into the Night with Jeff Goldblum or stuff like that. There was a few movies that kind of matched that, and that was kind of the inspiration here, to have this guy pulled into this world. And part of it is just because of myself learning that world when I got pulled into it, because I never sat down to become a photographer. I didn't go out and study photography. I was always a writer. That was my thing. I was a writer. And had Michelle not asked me to do the photos, and then it kind of snowballed, and I realized I do like doing photography. I like working with models. I like finding the beauty and finding the images and stuff I want. Had I not done that, then I would have missed out, because this is an incredible world with some amazing people. And Karma is an amalgamation of these amazing women that I've known, whether it's Kimberly or my friend from Long Beach, or some personal friends of mine who aren't models but have influenced my life greatly. And some of the moments I've had with them, some of the moments I've had with the models, all of that stuff gets pulled together into this story. And it's a very personal story for me from that point of view. It's not biographical by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not Alex, but I know what he's going through. I know people like Karma, and I know what bringing them together would be like, and just telling a love story about two people who are alone and who want to find somebody. And that's the bottom line, is we all want someone in our life. We all want someone to love. So that's what this is about. Yes, there's eroticism and bondage, and, well, I can't say too much more, but there was a point where I was writing the script and I was trying to describe certain toys that are used, and realized it would be easier just to send photos. So then I was basically putting all of these toys into the script itself. So Carlos had to be sitting there one day going, okay, I can draw this, and oh my Lord, all righty. So that's how I picture it. But and again, Carlos did such an amazing job on this art. I don't, off the top of my head, remember the name of the colorist. I believe there's two colorists on this project. And I don't know the name of the letterer. I have to get with Joe Rybant, the editor, and find out who they are, because I do want to start talking about them as well. But we have these great covers. Michael was one that I went out for personally. Michael and I worked together over at Avatar on the book God is Dead. They always had backup stories, and we did the last backup story over the last 8 issues of Jonathan Hickman's God is Dead. So we worked together there. We became friendly. So when I needed a cover artist, I suggested him. They said yes. And I went and got him, and I said, okay. And we worked together to come up with the cover. They went out, and I had reached out to Stepan Sejic, and he was swamped. But Nick kept after him until he got a cover from there. And then he got Mirka, and they came back and like, hey, here's all the covers we got. And I'm like, this is amazing. It's a thing of riches. I thought we were just going to have one, and we have 3 amazing covers, and with a 4th edition or version. So also, and we didn't get to make this happen, but there's a couple models out there, cosplay models, who reached out and said, hey, do you want to add a cosplay cover? And Francine and Cara, and there's a couple others, but all of them just super nice of you. And I'm sorry we weren't able to do it. We just got kind of quickly moving on this one. Hopefully we'll be able to do one if we do a second series. But yeah, and check them out. They're, the cosplay models that Dynamite uses are fantastic. There's some great ones. Faces by Francine. There's Gracie the Cosplay Lass. There's Rachel Holan. There's Cara Nicole again. I mean, they have some great cosplay covers over there. So check them out. I'd love to shoot them. I'd love to shoot the covers for it. And then also my own photography might work for some of them. But that's if we move forward. Hopefully we'll be, like I said, we'll be announcing the last stretch goal tomorrow. I believe it's prints for my photography, but I can't swear to that because I thought this last one was going to be, and then suddenly it was hardcovers, which love the idea that they just turned them all into hardcovers. So, all right, guys, been on a little longer than I expected, but again, Karma is going on right now. Please check it out, back it if you can, tell your friends about it. I really want to try to hit that 50,000 goal. We got a little over 2 days left, and I think we're in range. We're only, we hit that first goal in like 30 minutes, and it just kind of kept going and kept going and kept going. Look at that. We just bumped up again. That is so cool. I love when I get to actually see it happen. So, if you're on and you haven't backed yet, please take a look at it. If you have backed, tell your friends about it. Let's try to get this up as high as possible, and then we can do more Karma going forward. If you like the story, we'll have more stories to tell, and just kind of opening up. And if this is the type of book you like, then we'll have a reason to do more of them. So thank you again for coming on, paying attention. I am going to go try to relax for the rest of the night because it's been a long day. But if you have any questions, anything you want to know, you can ask on the Karma page itself, the campaign. There's a question comment section. Also, you can hit me up here, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and I will respond. I will get the answer to your questions. And yeah. And if you're a retailer, please check out the retailer package. Or if you go to a store, if you have your favorite retailer, tell them about this, because this is a better deal than they could get through Diamond. Pretty sure. Eight hardcover graphic novels for, what was it, $100? I think that's what it was. Yeah. 8 hardcover graphic novels for $100 for retailers. That's, even if they sell them at the $25 a copy, normally they would pay $13 each, something like that. So yeah, that's close to or better than what they would get through Diamond. So, tell your retailer about it. We got 2 days left. We're coming close. Look at all these great covers. Do you want the Cedric one? Isn't that gorgeous? The Mirka Andolfo, love that. Michael D. Pascal, you've got both versions. I don't know. Somebody asked me which one was my favorite. I'm like, you can't pick. I mean, it's like choosing between your favorite child. Can't do it. So, again, if you get a chance, check out the cosplay or the campaign. Tell your friends, tell your retailer about it. Again, we got that great retailer level for anybody who wants to get involved. And I'll probably pop back on tomorrow, talk about it then. But I also have the Dan Wickline show tomorrow, where we'll be talking about the 5th episode of Peacemaker. I'll also be on In Stores this week, tomorrow night, with Kyle. We talk about the latest books in the comic shop. So a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. Would love if you come by. And I thank you for your attention and for tuning in. And have a good night. And we will talk soon. But again,